So it's now me and my presentation between you and the lunch break. I will try to do my best to entertain you, but for some of you it might be a little bit boring. For those people who become software developers because they don't want to deal with humans. Yeah? So my talk will not show any line of code. I will not come up with a framework or something like this, but it's still complex. And for me, it's the most interesting and the best job I could have. The human side of software development, the human side of companies. Who of you is the manager? Somehow. Oh, a lot of you. But for the rest of you, stay relaxed. It's also important for you because you learn why it's important to talk to your manager if they are not functioning in the way they should. But I will not give you any method of how you can increase productivity because you know all of them. I'm pretty sure you know all of them. The question is, do you really use them? Or what happens when things come up? So, in the workshop some weeks ago, I had several team leads and managers there, and we talked about how we can increase productivity in the teams. And they said, okay, at the end, it's all about productivity because this is what we are measured with. And we talked about things like appreciation, awareness, culture, all these human things. Wow. And someone asked, shouldn't we just ignore all the things when it comes about creativity? We just need to focus on productivity and ignore awareness, ignore culture, and ignore appreciation. We all know what we have to do. And I was like, is this performance and productivity with a whip? And I think about a lot of things I see on the internet, and often I hear things like, we all need to work harder. So don't be a wimpy when things get tough. Don't complain about too much work, just do it. Really? I don't feel so. So this is me, Sabine Wojcieszak, and I'm from Germany. I'm living in a wonderful city called Kiel, and this is in the northern part of Germany. And together with my husband, we have our company, Get Next IT, and we help companies, teams, and leaders to collaborate in a better way and to have more productivity. For me, it's about how can we create a better workplace to achieve what? More success, more productivity, more fun, whatever. Yeah? We also need to define what is better, but better is mostly the thing where we all feel better, where we all have the impression that we can reach our goals, that there is a purpose behind what we are doing. So, to understand my presentation, I need to introduce you to my general assumption. No one comes to work to do a bad job. Or in a positive way, we all want to do a great job. This is why we go to work. And this is also for managers. They also don't want to do a bad job. They don't want to harm anyone. These are the people I'm talking about. So I'm not talking about the ugly one. The ugly side of management would be someone who comes to a team and want to put pressure on the team and maybe also want to harm people or the whole team. I've experienced this in my early work career as well, but this is not the person I'm talking about. I'm talking about the good one, the one with a good intention, but maybe is doing something which leads to a bad outcome. So, what does it mean, bad outcome? So this is a person having something good in mind, but not thinking about the effects of other people, and also not thinking about people as humans. Productivity, reaching goals, all those things are the most important parts. And we sometimes forget, from the perspective of managers, that also teams know that success and productivity matters. It's not that we as a manager have to tell them all the time, you need to be successful, you need to be productive. They know that. This is why they are coming every day and doing their job. Because this is really motivating. And so, motivation is the key for being productive. Yeah? Success motivates us. Success leads to more productivity. So we need to think about motivation. Motivation, incentives, great. But that's not the kind of motivation we really need. So what is this kind of motivation we are aiming at? And researchers found out the best way to motivate people is to have fun at work. But what does it mean? Is this we are all using our Nerf guns in the office and playing kicker matches all the time? No, this is not what I mean with fun at work, and this is not what is meant. It is about playfulness, yes, but not playfulness at the kicker table. Playfulness in solving complex problems, not being too serious and just focus on the problem. Look for other methods, creative methods, team efforts, something like this, how we can involve more playfulness for work to have fun. It's about connection, staying connected with the topic you are working at, but also with the people you are working with. And it's about flow, and this is the most important thing when we talk about productivity. People like to be in the flow, which means people like to getting things done. It sucks if things are not moving on. We all want to see progress. And this is what defines fun at work, when we all have these three parts of it. So, this does not sound like work harder, right? Having fun at work? No. It sounds more like paradise. Welcome to paradise if this would work. But sorry guys, ladies. Reality for a lot of people is still this. It's not like so much fun there, yeah. And what I often see when I'm in companies and hear about we have a problem with our productivity and all those things, and I try to introduce ideas what we can do, it's like, oh no, we don't have time, we just need to push harder. We don't have time for improving things, let's push harder, that's better. Well, still not believe that this is the right way. So the problem is, today we all have too much work in too little time. That's fact, right? Or is there someone who has enough time and not enough to do? I think reality is this. But is it still the time? I don't think so. We can't change the time. The time is what it's doing. It's running in the same speed, although we feel sometimes a little bit different about that, but it has a speed which goes on and on and on, and we can't change the time. So we need to think about something different. And this is our energy. How do we spend our energy to do all the jobs we have to do? Our energy and how we spend it defines our productivity. So, it's not us versus time. It's more like how we use our energy to reach more productivity. And then it's about humans. And it's about human behavior. So what we can do is we can change the usage of our energy. What are we spending our personal energy on? For which tasks? Are we spending them on tasks we already know that they are waste? Are we complaining about things we don't want to change? Well, stop complaining about them. If you don't want to do anything about it, it's waste. So stop doing that. And we can change our behavior. Do we speak up if things go wrong? Or do we just realize, okay, this is not a good idea, but keep going? Okay. So we often use time management methods in teams. But to be honest, I would better call them energy management methods in teams. And also managers use them. This means all these time or energy management tools are changing the way we behave, individual behavior. No of these methods would work without individual behavior change. So when you know about getting things done, it only works if you change the way you are working with it. Yeah? So it's about you. And when you want to use it within a team, you need to identify rules how we behave within the team. If I, for example, set a focus time in my calendar, and you come up and book something over it, I can do a lot of time management, but it does not help. So we need to identify rules within the team. How do we deal with these good approaches? And this is not enough. We also need discipline to do this, even if we have a lot of things to do. And not then just say, okay, now I have a lot of things to do, just skip those time management methods. And it's also a question for management. Also, management has to accept that teams are using time management methods to organize them better. And in the end, when we are talking about these energy or time management methods for productivity, it's a question of mindset and a question of culture. It should be implemented in our culture and the way we behave. You will see it later why this is important for teams as well as for managers. So now let's come to the stories in the real world. All these stories I will tell you now are stories I have seen during my work with customers. To be honest, I've changed the names, I've chosen different pictures, but they are real. And if it feels like a little bit familiar to you, that's fine. Take it and learn something out of it. Okay, ready for the stories? Let's start with Chris. Chris is a team lead, and I really like Chris. And he has a strong idea. He says, we need to say no if necessary. That's great. I love that. We need to say no. And then something happened. Some of his team members said, no! Wow! To him! And yes, I was not in the situation, but I can imagine his face when he told me about that. So it was like, wow, someone said no. His reaction? You can't say no, we have to. He promotes saying no in front of his team, and then the team says no, and he says, we can't do this. That's weird. What are the results of this? The first thing is less trust. You can imagine if he promotes a thing like we need to say no, and someone says no, they don't trust him anymore. And leading a team without trust is a bad situation. And the team also felt that the brave one, the one who spoke up, was a little bit blamed by him. Why are you saying no? How can you do that? So if someone is brave, which is great in a team, someone who speaks up, and then this person is blamed, this is not a good idea. And the team had the impression that there was more pressure on them. They could not rely on their manager, and they had the impression if something goes up, he is not the one who will protect them. And to be honest, this can lead to mental overload, and mental overload is the first step for burnout. So we are not talking about funny situations. We are talking about dangerous problems here. The outcome of such a behavior is less creativity, because mental overload leads to the situation that people are not creative anymore. Our brains have just a limited amount of energy. We have also seen in this team less quality, because they are not 100% buy-in. There was not 100% buy-in from the team anymore, because there was no trust. And this leads to less productivity. You know that all. If there's not enough creativity, if there's not enough quality awareness, this is less productivity. Yeah? So, I think we all need to say much more often and much louder no. Are you all able to say no? No? So, let's try it together. 3, 2, 1. No! Louder. 3, 2, 1. No! Perfect. So take this with you. This should be the minimum outcome of this conference for you, saying no if necessary. So, what could have Chris done better? If someone says no so that he's the good guy, the good version was, okay, let's see how we can solve this problem. How we can solve the situation. And he should also say, thank you for letting me know and taking responsibility for our success. This is what he should have done. And there's another thing he should have done, and this is celebrate the success. If someone in the team is brave enough to come to say no, this is really a reason for celebrating. Definitely. Okay, this was Chris. Now we need to understand we all are knowledge workers or brain workers. So our most important tool is inside of our head, I hope so. And this is called the brain. And we need to take care of this brain. That's important. I only come today with one care instruction, and this is our brain needs enough breaks. Our brain needs breaks after a task to just process all the information, store it in the place where it should be, to have enough space to go on with the next task. And then again, reality hits us. Multitasking, we all know it's not a good idea, but when we have a lot of things to do, we all do it, or more or less all of us. It's not a good idea. We have 3 different types of multitasking. One is different tasks at the same time. Picking up a call and writing an email is one way of multitasking. Hopefully, before you send out the email, you read it. Another one is task switching. Jumping forth and back between different tasks. So I'm in my focus time and someone comes up, hey Sabine, can you please tell me how this works? And I say, okay, yes, I will do this. And then go back to another and so on. And the third one is different tasks without a break in between. I mean different tasks, which are different in the way what you should do there. So remember, why are we doing multitasking? Because we want to increase our productivity. We have so much to do, and we think it's a good idea. But research shows that multitasking decreases productivity up to 40%. So we do something because we think it's a good idea to level up our productivity, but in reality, it brings the productivity down. We have higher stress, we have a higher energy consumption, we need to recharge our batteries, but when we come home with a high level of stress, this stress level needs to come down before we can recharge our batteries, which means a very high stress level needs more time to come down and less time to recharge. You see this vicious cycle. So let's have a look at Petra, head of the. She is new in this task and she wants to do a great job. And she says, I want to stay connected with my distributed team. And for her, meetings are a good way to do that. Let's have a look at meetings, what research found out after Corona. After Corona, people complain that they spent 30% more of their work time in meetings. Senior managers were asked how they would rate meetings, and they said 82% of them said those meetings are nearly unproductive, but we are spending 30% more time in it. It's great. 64% says that preventing creativity is done by meetings. Meetings are not that creative anymore. And 68% of the employees who were asked said that because of so many meetings, they can't do their job, they can't get work done. I think this is understandable. When I spend time in meetings, I can't do my work. Meetings are part of work, but I have to do something which is decided in the meeting, so should I do it? Okay, let's get back to Petra. And Petra has a cool idea. Due to efficiency, she likes back-to-back meetings because online it's so easy. One meeting is over, the next meeting can start. And she likes to have also always her whole team with customer meetings because they should know everything. So they are spending a lot of time in back-to-back meetings. Back-to-back meetings are meetings without breaks in between. Yeah? I'm always thinking like, why should we do more of those things we rate as not helpful? I have no idea why companies are allowing such kind of culture, this back-to-back meeting culture. Microsoft has done a survey and about meeting efficiency, and they have a group of people who took part in different meeting settings, and they done EEG and scanned their brains. And what they have scanned were the beta waves. The beta waves are those waves that show the work of the brain when we are solving complex mathematical problems. So hard work for our brain. And you will see areas in blue, which mean stress on the brain. And we will also see areas in red with a high level of stress in the brain. So the first group conducted 4 meetings without a break in between. And you see a lot of regions in this brain in yellow, orange, and red with a high level of stress. And they had another group with the same meetings, but with 10 minutes break in between. And it's mostly blue and it's green, so a very low level of stress for the brains. Again, stress in brain means less creativity, less problem-solving abilities. And interestingly, the first meeting without breaks also has less stress because they know that they will have enough time in between. Yeah, just the idea of having 4 meetings in a row without a break is causing stress inside of us. So this is not a good idea. We should more do this. Yeah. Results of such a way, such a culture of having meetings in a row. High stress level, no focus because people can't focus anymore, and no time to do the work. And again, this is mental overload with maybe really bad outcomes. Less creativity, less playfulness, less productivity. People are stressed. People are stressed out. People can become sick. And the really bad part of the story is we have this information by research over decades, and we are doing stuff. And during Corona, we discovered this as a good idea. So, the good side would be if Petra starts to rethink the amount of meetings, does she really needs to have all those meetings with the whole team, or is there a way of reducing this? She should think about the right intentions for the meeting so that she can decide what is really necessary. But the most important thing is she should give breaks in between, and she should not allow these back-to-back meetings. Let's go over to Liam. Liam is a project manager, and he is a big fan of continuous improvement. Yeah! And this is why he asked his team always to come up with ideas. We need to improve. Yeah, and he's right. Improvement is a good way to also level up our productivity. If we improve, we have a better flow, we will be more motivated, we have better productivity. That's what we are all looking for. This is why we are all doing Agile, DevOps, Scrum, Kanban, whatever. All these cool methods. But have the bad side of the story. And in Liam's team, people came up with, Liam, I have an idea. This was not one time, it was several times. And you can imagine, Liam reacted, we can do it when we have time. Does this sound familiar to you? We can do it when we have time. We have seen this before. Yeah, we have seen this slide before. But what does it really mean when someone says we will do it when we have time? Okay. It really means we will never do it. If someone tells you we will do it when we have time, forget about it. This will, in most cases, not happen. And this is really bad, because we will have no impact, but we will also have no motivation anymore. So, less trust again, because a manager promoted an idea of, tell me your ideas, we want to improve. And then you come up with these ideas, and he says, oh no, no time for that. It will also cause less responsibility, because I have taken care about this process. I have made up my mind what we can do better. I have spoken up, but he doesn't want to hear that. So why should I take responsibility for this? And this causes more waste, because I spend a lot of my energy on thinking about what I can do better. And when he says no to me, I will sit there and say, oh, Liam is a bad guy. I don't like to work for him. So I spend a lot of energy on complaining about this. And we will not do anything about mental overload. So again, we have no improvement as outcome. We have less productivity, and we have less motivation. It always comes back to this kind of motivation, and this leads to productivity. So what could Liam have done better? He could have said, great, let's discuss this idea with the team and make a decision, because the change has to be done by the team anyway. So why not discuss it and decide it with the team who has to do this extra mile? If they say it's a good idea and we think we all can profit from this, why not? And again, this is a reason for celebrating, yeah? Because there are people who take care of what they are doing and the way they are doing, and we should celebrate this. Sarah is the head of teams. She has 3 teams she is leading, and she is so awesome. She believes 100% in her teams, and she believes that they can do everything. They are so amazing. There's nothing they can't do. This is her real belief. And then something happens. A customer wants Scrum. They are doing product development for customers, and the customer says, I have heard of Scrum, and I want you to do this in a Scrum way. And she says, yeah, why not? I have a great team. No problem. They will do this. And they don't need help because they are awesome. They can do everything. Yeah, so her belief in her team became the bad side of the story because she believes they don't need support. So we have 3 obstacles here. The first one is we had no one in the team who had experience with the Scrum roles. We had a completely new product owner. We had a completely new Scrum Master. No experience before. The whole team has no experience with Scrum and no rules like Scrum Master and product owner with experience. You hear that? And the team also has no idea or not enough experience with self-organization because in all other projects, it was often Sarah who told them, this is the next step, this is what you have to do, and all those things. But still, she believes it's a good idea to just let them go and do their job. But we all understand that Scrum is not that easy by just reading the Scrum guide, saying, oh, no, we know all the ceremonies we have to do, we know we have to define a sprint time, we need to have those roles, and yeah, we have to do the sprint planning, and then we can go. This is not enough. It's more about how do we collaborate, how do we behave, how do we improve. So the result of this project, the team starts to struggle. Her awesome team starts to struggle. They were overwhelmed by doing the project and learning Scrum on the run. And there was a lot of frustration in the project. And fear. There were some people who believed that they could not deal with that, it's too much for them. And people became sick, and some of them left the team. And this means motivation dropped down. This awesome team was highly motivated before they introduced Scrum. And the flow dropped because they were just trying to figure out how they can use this Scrum for their daily work, and it doesn't feel natural for them. No flow, no quality, and less productivity. And with all those people leaving the team and new onboardings, they also had to spend a lot of time on this onboarding process. So this was not a good idea. What could have Sarah done better? She could still believe in their team as the awesome one, but she could have given them some time to learn and someone to help them to learn how they can improve their Scrum process. So having an awesome team does not automatically mean they can do everything on their own. They also need time to learn and time to grow. And we need to consider this as managers. Joe, our last example, is a team lead. And he's an awesome guy. I really like him. And he has a strong vision. He wanted to showcase with his team how the future of work in their company should look like. So everyone in the company was looking at his team. What are they doing? How would we work together the next years? So he has a lot of vision, a strong vision, but there was also a lot of pressure on him because the whole company was looking at his team. And in his personality, there was a little bit of a downside, yeah? And this is, he's a workaholic. He does not say it, but he's assuming that everyone is as well. And he has a lack of empathy. Empathy is not his strength. And he doesn't see the humans inside the team. He only sees the workforce, yeah? The head count or whatever you want to call it, but not the human side. So his idea with his team was, let's only focus at the factual level and skip all this emotional stuff. Maybe some of you can feel with this, but he is going to they want to discover the future of work. They have to experiment a lot of things, and they have to do a lot of changes. And changes always come with emotions. If we do not have changes in emotions and changes, we will not change, because the emotions are those which brings us forward. So again, listen to the science. And science says empathy is the most important leadership skill according to research. Empathy is the most important leadership according to research. With empathy, we can reduce stress. And still, daily practice in companies is that we promote those people who have the best technical experience, who are the best technical person. Being the best expert does not automatically mean that we have empathy and that we are a good leader. Still practice. And maybe someone of you now thinks, okay, this emotional part is more like women's stuff, yeah? And I have already heard someone who says, that's why I prefer to work with male teams, because emotions don't matter there. Sorry, boys get too, you can know this, but the problem is that boys usually tend to not show their emotions. And this is really dangerous, because imagine a leader with not so much empathy and someone who's not showing the emotions. The things will go wrong, believe me. Results is the team Joe is leading is struggling. They don't feel heard. They have less results because they don't know what they should do, how to tackle it in the right way, because they don't know if he's happy with that or not, because he's just focusing on results and not focusing on giving feedback and appreciation. And they are producing a lot of waste because they try to figure out what's the right way for them. So this is the reason why they do have a lot of psychology safety in their company. And also they have a lot of people leaving the team and a lot of new hires, and this makes it more complicated. The motivation is down, no flow, poor quality, a boss, a manager who is complaining, and less productivity. Everything on the human side. What could he have done better? And he has done better. He realized that he is not good in empathy, and now they have a distributed leadership team. He is doing all the vision part, the goal part, the metrics part, and he has someone at his side who is doing the leadership with the people. So all of them want to do something good, but if we don't think and care about human side of our team members, we will risk productivity in the end, unintentionally. So work harder is not the right way. We should work and lead smarter. That's much better. And my 3 takeaways and call to actions are, first of all, when you are a manager, listen to the people. Hear them. Lead with intention. Think about what you want to achieve. And think about how you can improve your own leadership style and skills. This is really, really important. And this will help you to increase your productivity and not stress out your people. Thank you very much. And if you have So if you have questions to your personal leadership style or to your manager, please reach out to me in the break, because we don't want to discuss it in front of the crowd, okay?
Thank you very much, Sabine. So anyone got any questions that can be discussed in front of the whole crowd? Oh, there is one. Do we have a mic? I'm just going to run with mine. Hold on. Run, Susanna, run.
Do you recommend formal processes for meetings rather than them being quite ad hoc?
Sorry, again, please.
Do you recommend developers should use formal processes for meetings as a way of cutting down the how long they drag on for, or have you not seen formal processes being used in a developer context? Okay, does that make sense?
Formal processes such as, I don't know.
So you mean formal process, how to include all those people who are more introverts and not speaking up, all those things like this.
And not bringing up new ideas in the middle of meetings without talking about them before.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of creativity methods to address especially those introverts and how to come up with meetings. And I think creativity methods are really good. Brainwriting, reverse brainstorming, something like this, so that you really give the chance to people who are usually not the first one to raise their hands. So I think these creativity methods you find everywhere are a good add-on for meetings, to make meetings more creative, not only for the introverts, but as the whole outcome for the meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay, well, thank you very much, Sabine.